Hi guys! Welcome back to my channel! And advance happy Valentine's Day guys! So this Sunday we will be celebrating Valentine's Day, but I'm not painting any like Valentines or hearts or anything like that today, but I'm painting something special, and it's one of my favorite subjects. It's a forest with some light play, and you probably have seen me paint similar paintings like this, but for tutorial purposes, I think I've only done one, so I'm gonna do another one today. So yes, let's begin now guys, and let me tell you the colors that I'll be using for today's tutorial. So I've already prepared the colors. We have, of course, lots of titanium white for light play. We have phthalo green, cadmium yellow, burnt sienna, phthalo blue, and black. And for the brushes, I'm really not concerned about the brushes, but for those who want to know the brushes that I'm using or I'll be using for today's tutorial, well, these are the brushes guys. I'm not really going to tell you the size of it because it really doesn't matter guys, as long as you have something for foliage making, for foliage like application. You need to get something like what do you call this? This type, like it's super stiff and quite thick. All right, and for line purposes, straight line purposes, you can use this one. It's pretty clean. I've only seen this brush of mine today. This means that I haven't used this brush. Palette knife and smaller brush for smaller lines like this, and your fan brush, of course, because I might do some grasses, and this one a fluffy brush just for purposes of blending, although I don't think we'll be blending a lot, but for purposes of glazing, yes, you may need this type of brush. So let's begin now guys. That was the first time I ever introduced my brushes without being so scientific about it. So let's begin now. So I'm gonna underpaint first my canvas. I'm using a canvas paper for today's tutorial. So I'll be using some burnt sienna and black like this, some white like that. All right, I'm gonna darken it a little bit more. I'm gonna add more more black and I'm just gonna paste it in here. So my horizon will be 2/3 of my canvas. So just to mark it, I'll be painting over it later. Just to mark it, I'm just gonna draw that line and start or continue my color underpainting down here. So again, this is just a combination of brown, black, and white, but make sure it's quite dark. So you can wet your brush if you want to have a smooth application or smoother application. Okay. So like this. Alright, like that. This is just the underpainting. As I always tell you guys, the underpainting is not the actual color. It serves as the undertone. It also serves as shadows and depth. Alright. For our sky, okay, you need to wash your brush out because you don't want any black or dark colors in the sky. So wash your brush out and wipe it with your towel. I'm gonna get my phthalo blue add white to that, so it's like this is sky blue. Again, more white, and I'm just gonna paste that in right here. Again, more white just to make it light blue, not super blue. Like that. Like that. Alright. Again, more white just to make it more sky-like look, sky-like. Alright, like that. Okay, I'm gonna add more white, but this time I'm gonna apply that quite randomly in the sky portion, just to suggest that there are clouds behind the forest. This will be painted over, guys, so don't you worry if I'm not making any particular pattern, because we will not be focusing on the background. We will be focusing on the effects of light and darkness. Alright, so I think that will do. Okay, wash your brush out now, or you can change your brush. I'm gonna use this one, the new brush that I haven't used. I did not know that I have this brush, guys. So as you know, I only use a few brushes all the time. So I'm gonna get my black. Okay, I'm gonna add tiny bit of burnt sienna to that so that it's not absolutely black. So now I'm gonna determine where the trees are gonna go. So okay, this probably is still wet, this area, but I will do my best not to right. Like that. Just fill in, guys. Fill in. Okay, another here. Like that. Okay, another tree. Let's make it like thick. Like that. Right. Another one right here. And you don't have to make your trees super straight, because that is just not realistic at all. Trees are in different shapes and sizes. You don't have to be perfectly straight. To be honest, I haven't seen a perfectly straight tree, to be honest. I haven't. So, oh, by the way, guys, Happy New Year. If you're celebrating the Lunar New Year, it's New Year. It's February 12th. February 12th, yeah. February 12th. It's so hard to speak, guys. Alright, so I'll be making now the background trees. These are the foreground trees, that's why they're quite fat. So we're gonna make some lean or thinner suggestions of trees in the background. Like that. That. I'm gonna make this quite thick and somewhat crooked, like that. in here. Some will be really thin visually because they are quite farther than the others. Like that. Alright, so I think that will do as our trees for now. Now I'm gonna go back to the foreground trees because I need to extend the width of the branch or the trunk, sorry. Just to make it more like natural. Like that. Alright, so wash your brush out. We will be going back to the trees later. For now, we just identified where the trees are gonna go so that we will not lose balance in the picture. So you can get now your, I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna get, I didn't know what to use, but then, okay. I'm just gonna use again my foliage brush. Again, if you've watched my other videos, I've been using this brush for purposes of doing some foliage-like brush strokes. So this is quite round and stiff. So I'll be using this one. Although you can use your fan brush, you can also use the tip of your smaller brush, but I think I'll be using this one for purposes of getting this done much faster. So I'm gonna wet my brush and I'm gonna get my green, phthalo green, add some yellow. If you have your yellow-green mixture, the ready-to-use one, you can use that. And I'm gonna add a tiny bit of black and white just to make it more visible to the eye. Alright, like this color maybe. We'll see. I'm gonna add more yellow and we'll see, guys. I'm gonna dab it on here. This is just to suggest some grasses. So as you can see, I finished quite fast in doing the foliage because of this brush. If you want to know the brush, it says Rubens Kraut Stencil. Rubens Kraut Stencil R-2. I don't know if this is available in other countries, but I bought this from Korea. Most probably it is also available somewhere else, or you can find it, or you can find a similar product somewhere else. Just make sure that it's round and stiff. Alright, so I'm gonna dab on my greeny color here and there to suggest some grasses on the soil. Alright, and then I'm gonna add a tiny bit of phthalo blue to that mixture to make it more dark greeny color. And I'm gonna dab it on at the back. Again, don't worry guys, if you're painting over the stem or the trunks, the tree trunks that we've already done, because they're simply dark colors, they can easily be painted over, they can easily be corrected later on, so don't you worry about that. Now I'm gonna add black to that mixture. I'm not changing or washing my brush. I'm just gonna dab on some foliage-like brush strokes up here to suggest leaves of the trees that do not receive enough light to be highlighted. So it's like this. Again, this is just the initial stage of our painting. It doesn't make sense for now, not yet. All right. I'm gonna get my yellow, cat yellow. I'm gonna dab this color right here. Sorry about the noise, guys. You always hear that noise every time I'm doing a video. So probably some of you already got used to that. Alright, so I'm gonna leave it like this for now. I'm gonna wash my brush and I'm gonna get this brush, the one we use for doing the trees. So I'm gonna get I'm gonna get my burnt sienna and black, like this. And I'm gonna make some shadows. So I'm just using my black. Actually, guys, I think I made a mistake. This one should be that way. So I'm gonna correct that one. So you'll see me really mess up. So I'm gonna correct this one later and you'll see how I'm gonna correct that. For now, let's just first identify where the shadows are gonna go, because this is my favorite part, guys. The shadows. Of course, I'm using again my fingers just to apply it quite evenly on the canvas paper. Here. Here. So the shadow is quite lighter than the subject of that shadow, if that makes sense. It should be a little lighter. It should not be black, in other words. Like that. For now, it's gonna be like that. And now I'm gonna correct this part. As I told you, I'm gonna get my brown or burnt sienna. I'm gonna add maybe a tiny bit of yellow or cad yellow, and then black, like this, and then maybe white. Okay, I'm just gonna adjust the color because I'm having a hard time mixing burnt sienna and then black. All right, let's try this one. I'm gonna correct this one and begin suggesting some light play. Again, this is also the second layer of our underpainting. This is not yet the color. We will be lightening it a little bit more later, or we can do it now. I'm just gonna add white, but for sure I'll be painting over it again later. For now, I just wanna find out where the lights are gonna go. Okay, I'm gonna add more white to that browny color. And I'm doing some random brush strokes like that. Okay, I'm gonna add more white. Oops, sorry, it's not working. Okay, here I'm gonna lighten it because this is the light source. So I'm just gonna dab some light brown there. Again, don't worry if you're painting over the tree trunks, because we can perfectly fix that. Just get your black. You see, it really doesn't matter. It's an error so easy to fix. You don't have to worry about it. So yeah, I did that just to show you how I fix it, but I could have done that later. Again, I'm gonna use, this time I'm gonna use some light brown color. I'm gonna water it down for smoother application. I'm gonna make more, I'm gonna make more trees in the background. Okay, add white if you need to make some more farther trees. Alright, like that. And then I'm gonna use this light brown mixture. So it's just a mixture of brown, your black, and white. And I'm gonna dab it on certain areas here and there. Actually, I could use my palette knife, but later I will show you how I'm gonna use my palette knife in creating more texture here. So I'm just applying some light browny color. Light brown. Okay. Okay, wash your brush out now. Okay, now I'm gonna get my palette knife. I'm gonna dab on some black paint onto my palette knife and use the back of the knife in making some nice texture on the soil. So as you can see how I do this, I'm doing a more horizontal brush stroke, like horizontal application more than anything else. I'm not doing vertical. This is to just follow the patterns of nature. Again, just use your black. You can even wet your palette knife just to apply more random textures. And you can get your brown. Just try to like mix. Okay, like that. Okay, and then your black. That. Okay, more black. More black. That. More black. All right, now I'm gonna get my black, I'm gonna use my brush this time. I'm gonna fix again my tree. And I'm gonna go along the shadows, you know, the sides of the shadows. Just paint it black, tiny bit of outlining. Outline the shadow with some black paint, just to separate the shadow from the other parts of the soil. Right? Like that. Like that. Okay. I'm gonna get more black this time. I'm gonna make some shadow somewhere in the middle between those trees. And I'm gonna make it quite irregular in shape, so that, you know, it's looking more realistic. Okay, add more. Alright, like that. Here as well. Okay, wash your brush out. Okay, I'm gonna get another brush because my brush is not really good for small grasses. I'm gonna get my green color, mix that with my remaining cad yellow and white. So you're gonna get some light green color. I'm gonna dab it on here. Again, add more white if necessary, to suggest that the light is coming from the back. Here. So I'm just dabbing. Like that. Here. Just to suggest that there are grasses near the front tree, or the big trees here that are being highlighted by the sun. Here. Okay, I'm using some more white because I really want to emphasize the light source, and that is the back. Okay. All right. Okay. I'm gonna get more cad yellow because I already ran out of it. And maybe more titanium white. Okay, now I'm gonna get my fan brush. I'm gonna get my white. Okay, I'm gonna mix that with my burnt sienna, like this color. Maybe I'm gonna add a tiny bit of green to that, like this. And I'm just gonna try to make some patterns here, like really random patterns, like that. Again, your fan brush is not just for foliage. It's also used to make texture, irregular patterns. Okay, here. Alright, then I'm gonna use my fan brush to get my black paint, and I'm gonna begin merging the shadow and the soil, because the shadow, there is shadow, but it's still part of the soil. We should not really separate it from the land. That makes sense. Okay, so I think that would do for now. I'm just gonna get this brush and I'm gonna make some more okay. I'm gonna darken the shadows. Some areas will be dark like that. Some won't. Alright. Maybe I'm gonna try to gray it a bit. It's quite hard. Like that. So I just added white. Okay, like that. So I'm using just watered down white paint just to gray the shadow a bit, because we don't want too dark shadows. That would be unrealistic. Shadows are not supposed to be black. They are supposed to be the darker version of the surface. Alright, I'm gonna get more black this time, just to make some more irregular patterns. Like that. Okay. Check. Alright, now I'm gonna go back to my foliage brush. I'm gonna get my green color, mix it with tiny bit of cad yellow, and I'm gonna go back to making some more grasses on the soil, foreground and background. I'm gonna be using some darker greens right here. Okay, now I'm gonna get my brown and white. Okay, this is just to suggest that the grasses are not just green grasses. There are brown that are already dried. Okay, I'm gonna get my darker greens. Okay, and then some yellow color. I'm gonna get my black. I'm gonna dab on my foliage brush using my black, and we're going to make some depth on the soil to make it more rough and raw. You know that? Like that. Okay. Again, I'm gonna get my darker green This time I'm gonna get my white with my greens and just tiny bit highlighting some areas. We will not be overdoing this step because that would be really, really weird. There are more grasses at the back. Right. Okay. All right. Wash your brush out. Now we're going to make some more detailing on the ground by using light brown. So I'm gonna get my white and my burnt sienna, and I'm gonna dab it on certain areas. You can decide where to place that. It's up to you, as long as you do not overdo this step. Just make sure that there are some areas that being, what do you call that, hit by the light, and there are some that are not. Okay. So I'm gonna add more white to some areas. Some will be brighter, some will be a little light, some will be a little darker. That's how you do light play. Okay, I'm gonna get more white. I'm just gonna dab it on very lightly or very gently. Like that. Wash your brush out. I'm gonna get my white and I'm gonna use the tip of my brush to make some highlighted portion, or to make some highlights on the grasses from afar. So I'm just using white. That. Alright, now I'm gonna get again my foliage brush, for the brush that I'm using in creating some foliage, this one. So I'm gonna get my green plus black, and I'm just gonna create more foliage behind because I feel like they're quite empty. Excuse me. Alright, I'm gonna darken the upper portion to give us some focus on the center. Like that. Alright. Alright. Okay, so it's like that. Now I'm gonna get my pure white and I'm gonna insert some white highlights in the sky. because again the light is coming from the back, I mean at the end of the forest. So I'm gonna highlight some trees, right? Again, I'm using white. I'm gonna lighten this area that are near the farthest part of the forest, just to be consistent with where the light is. Right, I'm gonna highlight my tree like that. I'm gonna highlight some parts of the tree. So I'm gonna highlight. Okay, wash your brush out. I think I'm gonna add more trees. I feel like, yeah, it's lacking some more trees. Like that. Yeah, I kind of like that. Also here. Again, if you're adding trees, don't forget the shadows. Like that. So get your black. Make sure that the tree is quite dark. It's quite darker than the shadow, as I've already told you earlier. Wash your brush out now. Okay, now I'm gonna get some more I'm gonna do some more foliage, but this time I'll be adding more yellow and white, like this color. So it's like light yellow, but then the remaining green paints are still there. I'm gonna tap it right there at the back. This is very impressionistic, in all honesty. This is quite impressionistic, which I really like, because we really don't have to worry about detailing. Compared to when we are doing some close-up paintings, I really like this. Here as well. Alright, now I'm gonna dab this this brush onto my white without washing it. So I'm gonna make some more white highlights at the back. I really want to emphasize that the light is coming from the back. Okay. Now I'm gonna make some gray color. I'm gonna get my white. I'm not washing my brush though. Just gonna add more black to make some gray color, and I'm gonna dab it here on the foreground. like gently. We will be glazing later. That is one of my favorite favorite steps as well. Glazing. Okay. Now I'm gonna get my black just to fix some areas. I'm gonna connect something. That. Alright. We're gonna use the more fluffy brush for this one. As I told you early at the beginning of the video, I'm gonna use my white but a lot of water, or with a lot of water, and I'm gonna start glazing it. Oops, the black's still mixing. It's all right. Wash your brush out. I'm gonna get my dark green and I'm just gonna apply it like glaze up here. I don't know if you can tell the difference now. Okay, wash your brush out. Okay, I'm gonna get again my white. I'm gonna make this area really, really bright. Hints of white. Okay. Maybe just again fix it. I'd rather fix it than being careful with how I'm doing my glazing. I'd rather fix the trees, guys. So if you're not the type who is a fan of coming back here and there, you may not do this step. Oh, this is looking so nice. Right, now I'm gonna make some tiny bit of separation from the horizon. I'm gonna get my phthalo blue, add my dark green to that, add water, just tiny bit of suggestion that we have a horizon. Like that, just tiny bit. You don't have to make super dark lines to indicate that there is a horizon. Okay, I'm I'm gonna add a tiny bit of black. Alright, wash your brush out. You can get your white. I don't know if it's getting dark already. You can get your white. And make some highlights. You can also make some grasses. You can use your fan brush. Gonna get my black just to make it more like natural. Gonna get my gray and water it down and just again make it more light, the shadows. We don't want any super dark suggestion of shadows. Like that. So I'm just glazing it. Right, so there's really nothing complicated in doing this one. I'm gonna make some more greens and some brownie colors. All right. Again, get your white. I think I have to open my window. Wait guys, it's like getting dark in my, all right, okay, so this is just white and I'm just gonna go and dab it on. Oops. Here. The back. Like that, and I'm gonna use my palette knife. I'm just gonna get my green and suggest some greeny color down here. You may or may not do this one, but I'm gonna do it because I don't want my soil to be super empty. Okay. So I'm just dabbing on using my palette knife, creating texture as well. I'm gonna get more black because I already ran out of it. So just create texture. And I'm gonna use the edge of my palette knife just to create more trees, irregular shape looking trees. quite thick, but it's all right. Okay. Let me check. That looks nice. That looks nice, guys. So now I'm gonna get more cad yellow because I'm gonna glaze again. I just want to glaze some areas here. And here. With some yellow. And here. And here. Oops. And I would like to fix this tree that I just did. Again, if there's tree, there must be a shadow. So remember that, guys, if you decide to add more trees, make sure you don't forget about the shadow. Alright. Gonna get my white. It's like the white is running up to here. Okay. Wash it out. Now, if you want to add more grass in the foreground, you may do so. I think I can do that just to show you how it's going to be done or how we should do it. I'm gonna get my green color, gonna get my yellow, and maybe black because I'm running out of green, so the combination of green and black, yellow and black creates yellow. So you can simply just dab some black and white. All right. I think this is nice, right? Yeah, I think this is good. Yay! So yes, I'm gonna sign it now. I'm gonna use my my white since I have a lot of white. I'm gonna sign it here. And I think we're done. We're done, guys! Yay! 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 So I hope you enjoyed that one, guys, because I really enjoy that one. You know that I love painting landscapes. So if you enjoyed this one, please share and subscribe to my channel. Share this with your friends on your Facebook account, or even mention this on your Instagram account if you want. So share this with your friends so that others may learn from this channel as well. Thanks, guys, for watching, and Happy New Year. Happy Valentine's Day as well if you're watching this on Valentine's Day, because I'm doing this on February 12th. So Happy New Year, guys. And of course,